Okay? So we can directly use it and find out the forward price. So what would be the forward price? Anybody? If you use the formula, what would be the price?
585.
You sure? 0.788, okay? So when you plug in the numbers, the answer you get here is 0.788, okay? So the number you get is very close to the forward price in the market, okay? So if you want to figure out whether you can make any money or not, okay? So typically what we want to do here is so what is the market price, okay? And what is the price based upon the formula, okay? So when you look at the market price is 0.79, and based upon the formula, the answer we get is 0.788, okay? So what we find here is that the market price is a little bit different, but not all that different from the based upon the formula, isn't it? The formula tells you that the price should be 0.788, while if you go to the market, rounding error rather than any big difference here, okay? Now the question here is that can we make any money based upon these prices, okay? So what are the steps here if you want to do a covered interest arbitrage, okay? So the steps here are, okay, if you are in the US, it says that assume the investor invest $1 million, okay? So suppose you have $1 million to invest. If you find these prices, the question is that can you make any money out of that, okay? So what do we do here? So today at time t equals 0, convert, okay, into Canadian dollars, okay? Invest at or Canada, okay? So here what it says is that the exchange rate is 0.8, okay? Here you have $1 million to invest. So you have $1 million to invest and the exchange rate is 0.8. So here you end up with $1,250,000, okay? So you end up with $1,250,000 Canadian dollars, okay? So this is Canadian dollars, okay? And what you can do is you can invest at 4%, okay? So here, in this case, you can invest at 4%, so $1,250,000, okay? At the same time, sell a forward, okay. So here, these are the three things you do today. So whenever you find there's some mispricing, you want to convert the US dollars into Canadian dollars. You can invest at the Canadian risk-free rate, and at the same time, to make sure you can get your money back at the end of 90 days, you are selling a forward contract, okay? So these are the three things you do. So at time t equals 1, okay? Is that? What would be the? 1,300,000. Okay. So here you will have $1,300,000 in the bank, and here when you convert back, you will get 0.79. Okay. 10. Okay. So this tells you how much you end up with, okay? When you convert your money back. So you end up with $1,027,000. Okay? Now assume that you had the 1 million, okay? If you kept your money in the US, you would have 1,250,000, okay? By doing this, you got $20,000 more, so you ended up with 1 million, sorry, how much you get? 2,000 more? Huh? Okay, so here, you had $1 million. If you invested in the US, you got 2.5% interest, so you get $1,025,000. If you do this, you end up with $1,027,000. Okay? So what we see here is that in this case, you make a couple of $1,000s more than you would if you kept your money in the US. So the reason why you don't make a lot of money is because the difference is very small, isn't it? The market price was 0.79, and based upon the formula, you got 0.788. So there was not a big difference, and that's one of the reasons why you don't make much of a profit. But chances are, whenever a bank does something like this, they are not going to wait for 90 days. Okay? So rather than wait for 90 days, maybe in 1 hour and so on, the prices might come back to normal, in which case they convert the money back into US dollars. So there, they might make maybe $500 or $1,000, but they could be making that in 1 hour or so. So that's the difference here between what we talked about and what might actually happen in practice. Okay? So here, what we see is that when the company does this, they make 2.7%. If they kept the money in the US, they would make 2.5%. Now, what do you think might happen in practice if everybody is going to do that? Everybody sells the Canadian dollar, the forward contract, chances are the forward price will go down. So that's what we see here. The Canadian dollar spot rate should rise because people are buying the Canadian dollar, and the forward price should fall. In addition, the Canadian interest rate may also change. And I'm not sure about that, but definitely people are buying the Canadian dollar, the price of the Canadian dollar should go up, and when more and more people are selling the Canadian forward, the forward price should go up. Should go down. Why do we call that an arbitrage opportunity? The reason why we call that an arbitrage opportunity is because there are 3 things that come there. Okay? The first is you have no risk. The second is you have no investment. And the third one is you are able to make positive profits. So why do we say that we have no risk? The reason why we say we have no risk is because we are converting and we are investing at the risk-free rate. Okay? We are investing at 4% in Canada. That is the Canadian risk-free rate. Now, you will face currency risk, but in this case, when you sold the forward contract, you are guaranteed the exchange rate. So that's the reason why we say that we face no currency risk. Okay? At the same time, what we find here is that we are doing a little bit better than if you keep your money in US dollars. So we can look at the case where you have no investment, and what is the case? You are borrowing 1 million at 2.5% and investing the same one in Canada. So that way, your net investment is also 0. So these are the 3 things: no investment, no risk, and positive profit. Or you have the ability to make profit. So that's the reason why we refer to that as an arbitrage opportunity. Okay? So this is a little bit different. This goes in another way. Okay? And here, the following information. The spot rate of the Mexican peso is 0.1. The 180-day forward rate is 0.098. The Mexican interest rate is 6%, and the US interest rate is 5%. Given this information, is covered interest arbitrage worthwhile for Mexican investors who have pesos to invest? Okay? So this could be a little bit more confusing, and the reason why it's a little more confusing is because rather than look at the US point of view, we are looking at somebody in Mexico, okay? So what do you have to be careful about? You want to be careful about the way you express the interest rates. So if you are in Mexico, the home country is Mexico, and the interest rate you want to put as the home country interest rate is the Mexican interest rate, okay? Similarly, the foreign country would be the US, and that is what you want to use as the foreign country, okay? So here, again, like I told you, the textbook assumes that these are periodic rates, okay? I think that's what they're doing here. So these are both periodic So that's something you want to be careful about, okay? So the first thing you want to see is, if you are in Mexico, what should be the forward price? So just like here, what should be the forward price given the spot exchange rate like this, given the Mexican interest rate, and given the US interest rate. Anybody want to try? What would be forward price? So F is given by,
given by S multiplied by difference.
So what do you think would be the answer? Yeah. Okay, so here F is given by S times 1 plus RH divided by 1 plus RF, okay? That's what we want to do here. So what is the spot exchange rate? Okay, so what you want to be careful about is that you are looking at Mexico, okay? You're not looking at the US, okay? Which means that what is the direct exchange rate? So the spot price is, for 1 Mexican peso, you pay 10 cents, isn't it? So for 1 US dollar, how many pesos do you have to pay? 10, isn't it? So that's one thing you want to be careful about, okay? So the spot price here is going to be 1 by 0.10, that gives you 10, okay? Because you are now in Mexico and you're applying the formula, okay? So the spot exchange rate is how many pesos you have to pay for 1 US dollar, okay? You okay? And what is the forward price based upon the market price? Again, you want to take 1 by 0.098, okay? So there, the forward price in the market, okay? The market price is F market is 1 over 0.098. How much is that? 10.2, okay. So the market price is 10.2. So now what we want to see is, we want to use the formula to find out the market price, okay? So based upon the formula, that is $1.06 divided by 1.05, okay? So if you are in Mexico, the home interest rate is the Mexican interest rate, and the foreign interest rate is the US interest rate, okay? 0.09. Okay, so what you find here is that based upon the formula, okay, the number you get is 10.09, okay? So the market price is higher than that, isn't it? The market price is 10.2 which basically tells you that the forward contracts are overpriced. Okay? So in this case, what that means here is that by selling the forward contract, chances are you're going to make some extra profits. Okay? So there is a covered interest arbitrage opportunity. So the first thing here is that you will have an opportunity to make some extra profits, or you will have a covered interest arbitrage opportunity only if the market price is higher than what you get based upon the formula. Okay? So once we have that, we can see how much we make. So how do you do that? So if you're in Mexico, so here, I don't know how much money they're talking about. Use 1,000,000 pesos, yeah? Okay. So at time t equals 0, okay, buy US dollars in RUS, okay, sell forward. Okay. At time t equals 1, so these are the steps as before. Okay, so if you're in Mexico, you want to buy the US dollar, and with 1,000,000 pesos, you get $100,000 US dollars. Okay, and you want to invest at the US risk-free rate. Okay, so the US risk-free rate is 5%. So 100,000, 1.05, and you also sell the forward, and the forward is 10.2, yeah? Okay. So at the end of the year, sorry, at the end of 90 days, how much do you have? So you have, okay, $100,000 times 5, you end up with 105,000 US dollars, okay? And when you convert your money back, you end up with 105,000 times 10.2, that gives you 1 million. Okay, so that gives you 1 million. Okay, so that's what we get here. You bought the US dollars, you got 100,000, invest at the risk-free rate, you end up with 105, and when you sell the forward, you have the right to convert your money back into pesos, and you end up with 1,071,429. Okay, so if you kept your money in Mexico, you would have received 60,000 pesos. Yeah, that would be the interest, and you would have ended up with 1,060,000 pesos. Here, you make a little more than that. You make $71,429. Okay. So this is what we see here when you look at the interest rate parity, or that tells you the relationship between the spot exchange rate and the forward exchange rate. Now, although we did not talk about this, okay, from the US point of view, if you look at the first question, okay, that we did, the first question what we did, it talks about somebody in the US, okay? And when you talk about somebody in the US, what it tells you is that in this case, the forward price is 0.79, and based upon our formula, the number should have been 0.788, isn't it? That's what we found, okay? So when that was the case, what we found was somebody in the US could make some extra profits, okay? Now, if you want, you can also look at Example from the US point of view. Okay? So if you are in the US, if you see these numbers, what should be the forward price? Okay? We can use the same formula that we did before, but we can look at things from the US point of view. Okay? So if you are in the US, F by S is given by 1 plus R US divided by 1 plus R Mexico. Okay? So what is the forward price? The forward price is given by the spot exchange rate times, what is the US interest rate? 1.05 divided by 1.06. Okay? So here, spot rate is 0.1. Okay? So what is the answer here? This from the US point of view, what would be the forward price? 0.099, yeah? Okay, so here, the answer we get is So, from the US point of view, what does it tell you? Is the forward contract undervalued or overvalued? It's undervalued, isn't it? So whenever it is undervalued, what happens? You buy the forward and you sell the spot. That's what you're doing. Although we talked about somebody in Mexico, you don't have to be somebody in Mexico. You could be a bank in the US that has the currency. Okay? All that matters is you have the currency, okay? And you can do that. Okay? So essentially what we are saying is that in the first case, the forward contract was overvalued. You could make money. In the second case, was undervalued, again you could make money. Okay? So basically what it tells you is that all said and done, when you talk about the relationship between the forward price and the spot price, that has to hold exactly. Okay? So that is why we are saying that based upon the formula, we know that the forward price over the spot price is given by 1 plus the interest rate in the US divided by 1 plus the interest rate in the foreign country raised to t. And that has to hold. Otherwise, in this case, either somebody in the US or somebody in Mexico, either one of them have the ability to. So as far as the textbook is concerned, it says that whenever it's overvalued, somebody in the US makes profit, and whenever the forward contracts are undervalued, like you see here, somebody from abroad can make profits. But I told you, it doesn't have to be like that. The bank as the company. What I'd like to do is take a small break, and like I told you, the triangular arbitrage is perhaps a little more confusing. That's one reason why I'm going to come back and talk about that. And what I plan to do is, I'm hoping by next week, maybe in 3-4 days, I'll try to put these videos online. So if you want to take a look at the lecture again, when you read and so on, you should be able to see that. Okay? Okay, I'll come back.